Bizarre Brain Comics. Well, hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. But this time, it's going to be something a little different. But before we get started with that, first off, I want to remind you I've got 2 books available. Here, with the holidays coming up, you might have friends or kids who might be interested in checking out my comics. This is Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology. It's got some humor and a little adventure in it, and the other one is Bizarre Brain Comics Presents Heroes, which is a little more mainstream. Has some superhero stuff, a little bit of horror, and some science fiction in there. Both of them are $7.99 each. They're both kid friendly, but they're not specifically for kids. But they're both kid friendly. $7.99 each, just from Amazon, or you can just Google the titles, and they'll come up with connections. With links to online outlets where you can order them. Okay, and then you also see here I have a variety of character cards. They don't have to necessarily be like this, but I was going to mention, still with the holidays coming up, maybe you might be interested in getting something for yourself or for a friend who might appreciate it. A card like one of these for comic book cartoon characters, or pets, other stuff like that. If you're interested, contact me in the comments, and we'll see what we can work out. Now, what I'm wanting to show you here is a couple of library books. Yeah, as I've said, I've shown done reviews on various books that I've gotten from the library. Graphic novels. Here's a couple of graphic novels. And remember, because I'm always wanting to remember you, if you're an avid comic book reader, you don't necessarily have to buy your own from the comic shop or elsewhere, but you can get some to read. And I've got many from the library that I have appreciated reading. Some very good things, and stuff that I would never have either seen at the library at the comic shop, or maybe would never have picked up, bought for myself, bought on my own, but still would like to have read. And so the first one we're going to take a little look at here is Barnstormers, a ballad of love and murder. This takes place in the 1920s. This is by Tula Lotay and Scott Snyder. And it's I think it's got a little bit of science fiction stuck in there too. So it's after World War I. It takes place in the 1920s. And I think it was originally published in the individual comics, which I've never seen. This is another one. Was some beautiful artwork, but I would never have seen it in the comic shop, most likely, and it's probably one that you're more likely to find in a regular bookstore. But it's some beautiful stuff. It has, and involves a murder mystery involving pilots, Barnstormers. If you're not familiar with the term of Barnstormers, they were pilots. See, here's where we get kind of a robot stuff, and I'm not sure. I haven't read far enough to be sure that was whether this is just in his mind or something that's actually in the story. But they were pilots who would fly around to the South, Midwest, elsewhere, from town to town, putting on a little bit air shows, taking people for rides, and stuff like that. And there's some beautiful artwork, and even this one here is looks like it's derived from a still photo of James Dean, but some beautiful artwork. The backgrounds, the figures, everything's, and it's so interesting. Look at this, and again, it's one I never would have seen in the comic shop, and it's something that, especially if you are interested in aviation, and mysteries, or just love some beautiful artwork, this would be an interesting one to check out in the to look for in your own public library, or at least go looking for it and find something else just as wonderful. And then, of course, in the back is various versions of alternate covers, cover designs, etc. There's some really, really nice stuff in that one. And then this other one is, again, this is one that you probably would never see in a comic shop, but it would be in your standard bookstore, Barnes and Noble, or the tattered cover like we have here, or elsewhere. The cartoon Introduction to Philosophy, written by Michael F. Patton and Kevin Cannon, and drawn by Kevin Cannon. And this really reminds me of the cartoon History of the Universe by Larry Gonick, which I've done an episode on here. It's some marvelous stuff, and that goes back because that particular title started out as an underground comic, and went on to have various mini volumes and mini reprint volumes. It's some great stuff, and that particular thing I think should be required reading in high school history, and the same could go for this. Even the art style reminds me of that, and it's a fun little look at things. As our host is considered what was his name, Heraclitus. He is considered to be one of the first philosophers in Greece, in ancient Greece, and the whole thing is just about philosophy. It's got humor in it. It talks about many of the key philosophers, how they thought, what they thought, and their respective impacts on philosophy and the world after that. At various times, some of the different schools of philosophical thought, and is really a really nice piece book. And again, library book. Never would have seen it if it hadn't been in the library. So I really, really encourage you, if you want to find something unusual to read as a comic book, you can go to the library and find all kinds of things that you would probably never ever see elsewhere, unless you were looking for them online, or maybe in one of the major regular bookstores. So that is just what I wanted to share with you all this time around. Just to kind of encourage you to go to your public library and just go looking in the because most of them have a graphic novel and even an anime section anymore. Go there, see what you might find interesting. You might come up with some gems like these. So thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below. Yeah, tell me what you think. What you think of the idea of these two books. And oh yeah, and my wife even commented, she's an aviation fan. She said, "Oh, that's one of my favorite airplanes up there. That's the Jenny. That's a Jenny." And of course, if you're familiar with The Rocketeer, yeah, The Rocketeer, that the movie. I'm thinking of the movie rather than the comic, but it was that Jenny aircraft played a significant part in that story. It's all part of the show. Yeah, all that was Barnstormers. Okay, and that's it. Thank you for joining me, and remember, comics are art.